Here we go. Good morning, everyone. So we got sound. Show. Let's just get some stuff all set up here. Voila. Let's go over the 9070 XT. Not really gonna be going over the 9070 model, but more or less the 9070 XT. Well, there we go. Give some people some information that they want. Live chat is live. It is not low latency, so whenever I get the message, I will read it out. If you want to give me 2 seconds, just getting over a cold, so. All right. So let's get into today's live stream here. So the 9070 XT. We got a little bit more leaks on it, $649.99. Not as cheap as what a lot of content creators were hoping it was going to be. They're hoping it's going to be quite a bit cheaper, to be honest. Only due to the fact it's, yes, 9070 XT, the performance at AMD. It's only AMD that's given the performance. They didn't put it up against 5070 Ti. They put it up against the 7900 GRE. It's still a good card, but it's not 5070 Ti. So it's hard to get the numbers. I did do a little bit of math because they said how much percentage is going to be over the 7900 GRE in 1440p 2K. So AMD, it's going to be Navi 48 processor, so not much change there. It's going to have 4096 cores, 256 TMUs, 96 ROPs, 16 gigabyte of memory, GDDR6. So that might be an issue. 256-bit bus width. Yeah, this is just a card. They're not going to be looking like this at all, probably. There's no Founders Edition card either, so prices of it could change quite a bit, also due to the tariffs as well. So this is techpowerup.com. It's a good place to get some information. They don't have all the leaks usually, but they have some information. The Radeon RX 9070 XT will be a graphics card by AMD that is expected to launch in March 2025. So February 28th, I believe they're supposed to be coming out, but March 1st is when you're going to see more or less all the tests, or March 5th, depending on how quickly they can get them done. And if they actually get their cards on time, a lot of content creators have not got the 5070 Ti on time, so it is what it is, I guess. That would have been due to shipping, or it's not enough of them for content creators. So it is built on the 4nm process, and we're going to go over the 5070 Ti as well to give you a little bit of a comparison between the two. So it was built on the 4nm process and based on Navi 48 graphics processor. In its Navi 48 XT variant, the card supports DirectX 12 Ultimate. This ensures all modern games run on the Radeon RX 9070 XT. Of course, anything DirectX 12 and up is usually good. Kind of what we're on for games today. Additionally, the DirectX 12 Ultimate capabilities guarantees support for hardware ray tracing, variable rate shading, and more in upcoming video games. The Navi 40 processor is a large chip with a die area of 390 millimeters squared. It features 496 shading units, 256 texture mapping units, and 96 ROPs. The card also has 64 ray tracing acceleration cores. AMD has paired 16GB GDDR6. Again, it might not be the old GDDR6. It could be a faster GDDR6, but it's more or less going to be GDDR6 memory. They didn't say if it was going to be the X model, which is the ECC by Micron, which is VRAM that is error correcting, and it's only made by Micron, so we don't know yet. With the 9070 XT, which are connected using a 256-bit memory interface. The GPU is operating at a frequency of 2400 megahertz, which can be boosted up to 2970. And this is kind of speculated. Again, it's not telling you how fast. There is no real speed of what it really is, but 2400 megahertz up to 2970, it's same frequency as a 5070 Ti, basically. Memory is running at 2438 megahertz, 19.5 gigabits per second effective. So not going to be a faster GDDR6 if this is true. Being a dual slot card, the AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT draws power from 2x8 pin power connectors, which is great, to be honest. 2x8, awesome. More than enough when it needs. For they're saying 300 watt, yeah, 304 watt maximum TDP, and that would be on the basic model. So some cards would probably go up to 330, 340, depending on the model. Display outputs include 1 by HDMI 2.1a, which is a new HDMI up to 240 hertz, which is awesome. 3 DisplayPort 2.1, which is again awesome. 165 hertz plus on the old display, and now we can go up to, they're saying up to like 540 hertz, which is awesome. Radeon RX 9070 XT is connected to the rest of the system using PCI Express 4.0. So they're not even using PCI Express 5.0, they're using the 4.0 by 16, which is alright in some cases. In some cases you're gonna need the higher bandwidth. Higher bandwidth will help, but for gaming, PCI Express is not really a concern there. You can even go up to probably PCI Express 3.0 and still see perfectly good performance on your GPU, as long as you're on a 16 by 16 interface there. The card's dimensions are 267 millimeter by 111 millimeter by 50 millimeter, and it features a dual slot cooling solution. Again, speculated. That's speculated. It's not, we don't know the actual sizes of these cards yet. So GPU name, Navi 48, GPU variant, Navi 48 XT. Architecture is RDNA 4.0, so it's not 3.0, it's now 4.0. Foundry is TSMC, so the company that makes the chips, the dies themselves, TSMC. Process size is 4 nanometer, transistors unknown, die size 390 millimeter squared, which is not what they set up here. Oh yeah, they did. Okay, good. Because this right here, the 5070 XT is a smaller die size, but it's also a 5 nanometer processor instead of a 4, which they're saying is on the 9070 XT. So GCD size 200 millimeter squared, MCD size is 36.6 millimeter squared by 4. Chip package is MCM. Process type is N5-N6 FinFET. Memory 16 gigabytes, and we already got speculated that it's going to be a 16 gigabyte card. They compared it to the 7900 GRE, and 7900 GRE is 16 gigabyte. The 7900 XTX 24 gigabyte, and they didn't compare it against that. So it is going to be a 16 gigabyte card, more or less. GDDR6 memory, which is whatever, I guess. It's not GDDR7, which is way faster, like way faster. So we'll see. We'll see the performance with the GDDR6. Maybe they're not switching over to the GDDR7 until they use their top line cards, which would be smart and would give a little more time for the GDDR7 memory to be out there and be more optimized, more or less, because it is fast. The GDDR7 is very, very fast. Memory bus, 256-bit, pretty standard for a medium tier, high tier card. It's more of a medium tier card, 256-bit. Bandwidth is 624.1 gigabits per second, which is terrible in my opinion. That's terrible. It's as fast as my 3070 Ti. My 3070 Ti is 608 or something like that. So not much more bandwidth than my 3070 Ti. So not great. Theoretical performance, pixel rate 285.1 gigapixels, texture rate is 760.3 gigapixels, FP16 half 48.66 teraflops, which is pretty crazy, 2 to 1. FP32 float is 24.33 teraflops, which is pretty good actually. FP64, which is double, 760.3 gigaflops, 1 to 32. It's gonna compare to 5070, not probably to 5070 Ti. For ray tracing, the video is always gonna be better. I can't say always gonna be better, but for ray tracing, NVIDIA has the lead with that. So DirectX 12 Ultimate, which is just DirectX 12. You can call it DirectX 12 12.2 if you wanted. So OpenGL 4.6, OpenCL 2.2, Vulkan is 1.3, because Vulkan is new. So it's just beginner. Shader model 6.8. Now if we go up here, release date is saying March 2025. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be February 28th, or pretty sure. It was announced January 6th, 2025, which is CES. Went over a bunch of these things. Some live streams, did a live stream on the live stream of CES. Did a couple of them. But yeah, January 6th. So Navi RX 9000, so it's the newer generation. RX 9000 series. Predecessor is Navi 3. Production unreleased. So it's not released yet in March, right? Bus interface PCIe 4.0 by 16, which is not PCIe 5.0, so I guess technically they don't need the higher bandwidth, but higher bandwidth would help perform a little bit better since going PCIe 5.0, which could be almost twice as fast. Base clock 2400 megahertz, boost clock 2970. So almost 3 gigahertz boost clock, which is, again, these numbers here look almost identical to the 5070 Ti for at least base clock and boost clock. They look identical. Memory clock speeds is fairly identical as well. But 19.5 gigabits effective, that just, if this is true, then it for sure is using GDDR6, as it's technically slower than my 3070 Ti in a way, because my 3070 Ti is 21 gigabits per second with GDDR6X memory. So we'll see. We will see. Shading units 4090, 4096 shading units. TMUs 256, ROPS 96. We've already been through this. Computing unit 64, RT core 64, L0 cache 32 kilobits per whatever WGP is. L1 cache 128 kilobits per array, so per section. L2 cache 4 megabytes. L3 cache 64 megabytes. All in all, those numbers look just fine. Very comparable to the 5070 Ti as well. Slot width, they're saying it's dual slot. There are going to be cards that are 3 slots, so 267 millimeters. These lengths don't really matter. The TDP does. TDP is going to be roughly 300 watts overclocked, or different models. These numbers could be higher. Suggested PSU 700 watt. Makes sense. Again, HDMI and display port, these are pretty basic, and now we're up to the new HDMI 2.1a, which is awesome. Power connectors, 2x8 pin. Why didn't Nvidia do this? Why didn't the manufacturers for Nvidia, like Asus and all of them, do this with the Nvidia cards? 2x8 pin, awesome. You wouldn't have these melting connectors. You wouldn't have people complaining because the 12 high-powered cables are new and people don't like them. It is a smaller gauge wire technically, so, and some of the wires are pulling 22 amps from what I found. It's 22 amps through a single wire, which is insane. When there's supposed to be 6. There's supposed to be 6 wires pulling that power, but one cable is pulling 22 amps and the other ones are pulling 1 to 3 amps. So something's messed up with the 12 volt high powered. And we're just, ray tracing cores is their 3rd gen, Infinity Cache is their 3rd gen, graphics compute 12, shader ISA, GFX 12, so GFX 1201, display core next, 3.2.0, video core next is 4.0, so, it's just our new lineup. So what we can look at, quad slot. Okay, so the Asus TUF Gaming RX 9070 XT is GPU clock is going to be 2520. Boost clock is over 3 gigahertz. Awesome. But they don't have any. Well, the memories give you the same for all. Whoa, except for apparently the XFX Mercury RX 9070 XT OC Magnetic Air Edition. It's going to have a higher memory clock. That's awesome. Anyways, we'll go on to the quad slot, the Gigabyte Aorus RTX 97 XT Elite, which is supposed to be a quad slot. They don't have any pictures. Dang. Everything looks the same. Everything looks the same. Quad slot. That's insane. Quad slot GPU. 9070 at that. The cooling must be crazy. But it's supposed to be, it's not even like an overclocked model. 2400, which is the base clock speed, up to 2.9, almost 3 gigahertz. That's insane. Gigabyte RTX 97 XT Gaming OC. Stock basically for GPU clock, boosts up to 2.9, almost 2.8, 3.0 I mean, and it's triple slot. Power color Hellhound. The Hellhounds are nice cards. RX 97 XT, again, standard. These are all the same, but they're not given the actual card size, like if it's a dual slot, triple slot, or quad. Quad slots are big cards. That's a monster. It's a monster. Must have probably one of those LED screens on it or something. So we got the Power Color Reaper, which is a newer one. Reaper is a new one. Same thing though. Power Color Red Devil, which is their like top of the line one. Same thing though, but it's a triple slot, which is the way it's always been basically. Sapphire RX 9070 XT, just a slight increase from stock core to just over 3 gigahertz. Not much of an increase for the Sapphire model. The XFX Mercury RX 9070 XT OC Magnetic Air Edition, though, is a big increase. 3.1 gigahertz boost, and its memory is also overclocked, which I everywhere in every video I've searched, they didn't say anything about having any of them being an overclocked memory. And I'm not sure if that would be due to the fact that XFX Mercury here, at least the magnetic air one, is GDDR6X. I wonder if it's GDDR6X memory. It could be. Or they did stock right from factory overclock, like a small overclock. So using RX 9070 XT Sakura Atlantis, so it's a Sakura model. If you ever know about Sakura models, same thing, just stock, everything stock, just stock. So yeah, they do. I've always liked the way they looked. The Hellhounds are not like their top tier cards, but they're not a bad card. I don't know anything about the Reaper card, to be honest. I will do some research on that, see what the Reaper card's like. The Red Devil, though, have always been a like top of the line, very nice looking card. Because they also got their Liquid Devil as well, like their liquid cooled one. But yeah, very nice card. And it's supposed to be triple slots. Again, pretty much basic on what it's always been. Triple card. It's a really beefy cooler on them. They generally have an overclock from factory too, so I don't know why this one does not. Maybe they just don't have enough information on it, because not all companies have to publish what they're going to be doing with the whatever card or whatever chip they're doing, right? And again, I just don't get this either, the XFX, because XFX is... this company's been around for a long time, XFX. But the Mercury, I'm not sure if it's like top of the line card or not. And this new magnetic air, never heard of it before, so it must be new. From like an overclock from factory, boost up to 3.1, which is great. And then overclocked memory, so that's even better. Like performance, you'll get a faster, just from that, you'll get a faster memory clock, like how many gigabits per second effective. It'll probably be like a 21 gigabits per second, like a GDDR6X. So that's what I'm pretty sure it is. It's gonna be GDDR6X because there's no other information on here that I can see that's different. By clicking on these, or yeah, see, it's even just saying GDDR6. Bandwidth is upped, so the bandwidth is upped, and that's why I'm thinking it could be GDDR6X. And 20.1 gigabits per second, so it's still not even as fast as my 3070 Ti for how fast the memory is. Is what it is, I guess. There, if it's better, it's better. Just going from RDNA 3 to 4.0 is better for many things, of course, too. But yeah, there's no other real information. Oh, okay, well, it does give more. Pixel rate is almost 300. Texture rate's almost 800 gigatexels, which is crazy. 50 teraflops. It's again 2 to 1. Like if we go FP16 half, it's 2 to 1. FP32 float, 25.4, which is not much of an increase, but it's a whole extra teraflop basically. And FP64 double, which is a 1 to 32, almost 800 gigaflops. Crazy, man, crazy. And everything else will be the same. architecture is the same, you know, so none of that's gonna change. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. They're saying this card's TDP is 300 watts as well. It's, again, probably doesn't have enough information on it. So, oh, we'll see here. Now, we'll check out the 5070 Ti just to show you what it's got. So, cores, of course, it's almost twice as much. So it's 8,960 cores, 200 TMUs, 96 ROPs, 16 gigabyte memory size, GDDR7 memory type, and it's 256-bit as well. And they're saying that 5070 Ti is an enthusiast class graphics card. It's not enthusiast grade. It's just a medium high tier graphics card. It's not enthusiast whatsoever. The only enthusiast graphics card by Nvidia would be the 5090, 4090, 3090s. You know, all the 90s, or like the 1080 Ti or 2080 Ti's. Those are the only enthusiast grade graphics cards. I'm not sure why they're putting this up here. That's an enthusiast grade. It's not enthusiast grade. Okay, that is. Maybe because they're saying it performs like a 4090. It does not. It does not match the 4090, but it is more like a 4070 Ti Super, which is, again, not an enthusiast grade graphics card. So I'm not sure why they're putting that up there. And it already launched, and there's already a lot of things we're going to be going on this probably live stream as well about it. It's not, a lot of things are not so good. I guess I could read a bit more like I did with the 9070 XT here. Okay, February 25th, 2025, it's already launched, built on the 5nm process. Like I said, 5nm versus the 4nm that AMD is. But AMD die size is 390 millimeters squared versus 378 millimeters squared that Nvidia is, which for 4nm, it could be a better efficiency and all that with 4nm from 5nm. Not much, but it will be some. But because the die size is technically a little bit bigger, I'm pretty sure these cards are going to be a little bit easier to cool, or you'll see that the temperature of these cards are not that high compared to like a 5070 Ti. But we'll have to see there. So yeah, this ensures, yeah, it's DirectX 12 Ultimate, blah blah blah. Of course, all these new GPUs are going to have the latest DirectX. This ensures that all modern games will run on 5070 Ti. Just something the DirectX 12 Ultimate capability guarantees support for hardware ray tracing, variable rate shading, and more. Blah blah blah. Of course, it's gonna have that. It's gonna have to have variable rate because of the fact that ray tracing is doing all this stuff, and you're like looking around and all that. So like the bushes and all that, like the shading can be different on different angles and that. So it's gonna have that. Blah blah blah. And more in upcoming video games. The GB203 graphics processor, so that's the graphics card processor name. So take apart the card, it'll be GB203. It's a large chip with a die area of 378 millimeters squared. Like I said, 378, so it's a bit smaller die than the 9070 XT, but it's also 5nm, so it's probably going to be a warm card depending on the coolers. And from what I've seen, read on, is that the cooling is actually pretty good on these cards, and they're not exactly small cards though, because there is no Founders Edition like the two slot cards. They're like 2.5 slots for the small ones, so. And they're looking at like 62 to 68 degrees Celsius on the chip, which is not terrible. Large chip with die area of 378 millimeters squared and 45,600 million transistors. Unlike the fully unlocked GeForce RTX 5080, which uses the same GPU but has all 10,000. 752 shaders available. Nvidia has disabled some shading units on the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti to reach the product's target shader count. It features 8,960 shading units, 280 texture mapping units, and 96 ROPs. Also included are the 280 tensor cores, which help improve the speed of machine learning, which is they put this out there that's using AI now, so machine learning applications. The card also has 70 ray tracing acceleration cores. Nvidia has paired 16 gigabyte GDDR7, which is fast, super fast. Memory with the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti, which are connected using a 256 memory interface. The GPU is operating at a frequency of 2.3 gigahertz or 2300 megahertz, which can be boosted up to 2452. Memory is running at 1750 megahertz, 28 gigabits per second effective versus the 19.5 gigabits per second effective for GDDR6, which is quite a bit more. Being a dual slot card, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 5070 Ti draws power from 1x16 power connector. 12 volt high power connector, 1x16. Rated at 300 watt maximum. Display outputs include one HDMI, so basically the same thing. Everything is just updated for the HDMI display port. GeForce RTX 5070 Ti is connected to the rest of the system using a PCI Express 5.0 by 16, which is a lot faster than PCI Express 4.0, but apparently there's some issues with the 5.0, or it could even be just from NVIDIA Founders Edition cards, which is the way they got set it up. It's not working proper. Plus also people using like your PCI Express extender cables. Apparently those are an issue with at 5.0, and you have to set everything to 4.0 to fix it. The card's dimensions are 304 millimeter. Some of these specs are correct, and it features a dual slot. Okay, they're actually going off of the Nvidia's Founders Edition card, 304 millimeter by 137 millimeter by 48 millimeter, which is a dual slot cooling solution. This price launch at $749 was $749. Can people find them at that? Let me know if you found one at $749. Everywhere I look, they're not $749, even US. So again, GPU name GB203, GPU variant is GB203 to 300A1. Architecture is Blackwell 2.0. Foundry is TSMC. They make everyone's chips basically. Except for I think they had issues now with Intel, and they're going to stop working with Intel, so Intel automatically has to go to Samsung. So it's to Samsung to make their chips. So we'll see about that. Process size is 5 nanometer. So again, the 5 nanometer process size versus the 4 nanometer. The efficiency is going to be a little bit better with the 4 nanometer, of course, but it depends on a lot of things there. Die size 390 versus the 378. Transistors is 45.600 million, so that's crazy amount. Density is 120.6. 970 XT at 649, correct, yes. That is the leak. The newest leak that just came out is $649. I called it. I did call it. Do I need sniper tools to get one? Probably. Source. Where did I get this one? Could be from video cards. Give me 1 second. See where I got it here. No, I can't find it. Pretty sure I got from videocards.com though. That's not what I'm looking for. 5070, you can't kill something that doesn't exist. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it in stores or not either. So not sure about that. But the before rumored price for the 9070 XT was like $899, which is not true, or $849, which some people are saying, but a lot of people are saying $899. Just read it not long ago. There we go. Amazon's listing. So if I go to here, just give me 2 seconds and I'll show you what I mean. And it wasn't as Tom's Hardware apparently. I thought video cards showed same thing. Amazon was showing the prices of it. So here we go. Here we go. So it's tomshardware.com. Scroll down. So AMD has not officially revealed any specifications or pricing, but we had our fair share of preliminary retail listings last month. And again, there was same thing with Nvidia as well. Some companies like Gigabyte were showing things they shouldn't have been showing. They showed it for like a few days, but then had to take it down because Nvidia saw it. Including the 21%. This is including the 21% VAT applied in Spain. So this is Spain pricing and that, but roughly the same prices for US. Blah blah blah. January 23rd, later taken down. Amazon's listing showed RX 9070 and 9070 XT for $649 and $749. Oh, my apologies. Apparently XT they're saying is $749. I have somewhere else that the 9070 XT that I just read not long ago, because I read this one a while ago. The 9070 XT was supposed to be $649, and the non-XT model was supposed to be like $599 or $550, depending on location. This should be taken with a bag of salt, as it could be all placeholder pricing. But again, this is Amazon. This is Amazon, and probably is true. No one has seen one anywhere? Yeah, it's probably true. Probably no one has actually seen the actual, 5070. I haven't seen many reviews on it, so who knows? Again, a lot of things are about the same from Nvidia to AMD. So Nvidia to AMD, a lot of things are about the same. That's why the speculated performance is about the same. But more or less, the 5 nanometer to 4 nanometer, again, one's going to be more efficient. The 4 nanometer is technically more efficient, even though the die size is bigger. So I'm not sure why the die size is bigger. And they're saying, yeah, they're saying it could match 5070 Ti, the 9070 XT at least. But I don't know if I still have my notepad. And I'll have to show this. There we go. And not that one. Where is notepad? There it is. Hopefully you can see that all right. So we got the notepad. Paper release. Yeah, probably. A lot of things that Nvidia said were kind of false. Like I said, if anyone watched my live stream of CES of Nvidia, they were saying the 5070 Ti is supposed to perform the same as a 4090. They didn't really say it was going to perform the same just due to the fact of the frame gen. So having 3 extra frames generated as 1 frame is rendered kind of thing. They didn't say anything about that. They just said, oh, the 5070 Ti is supposed to perform the same as a 4090 for only this amount for $750. Not true. That wasn't true at all either. So here we go. Oop. There's the other live stream of the RAM kits. 7900 GRE. So here, if we look here, hopefully you guys can see this. This is performance from AMD. Okay, this is exactly the performance that AMD is saying. AMD did not have a 5070 Ti to compare it to, so they compared it to the 7900 GRE, which is also a 16 gigabyte VRAM card. And this should be down. So Ghost of whatever Tushima. I'm not sure. I'm butchering the name, of course, of that game, but it is what it is. Yeah, DLSS4 is bullshit. It is. It is. I cannot say it's not. Um, when Linus Tech Tip had his first hands on with the 5090, like he was the first person to use the 5090 basically. He was saying, yeah, the frames are great, everything looks good, but with the frame generation and move around, and I think he was using Cyberpunk 20, Cyberpunk. He was saying that like moving around and that everything was really blurry, like all the neon lights and all that were very blurry. Couldn't really make out a whole lot. That came out to be true. So okay, so yeah, the 7900 GRE, 16 gigabyte VRAM, Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be 130. This is frames per second average. So this is 130 average for frames versus with the 9070 XT with 16 gigabyte card. Again, it's still using GDDR6 memory, and this is all at 1440p ultra settings. Also for the 7900 GRE, the specs where I got these numbers from are from a YouTuber called ZWorms. So YouTuber, if you'd like to go search him up, he's awesome. But that's where I got these numbers from. He used all ultra settings at 2K, 4K, so I went off of the 1440p ultra settings that he was using on the 700 GRE. And he was using the 9800X3D. Apparently they're using that as well with their card. Ghost of Tsushima 130 to 179, which is crazy. 179 frames per second at 2K Ultra. So Ghost of Tsushima, whatever. I'm butchering that name, okay? I don't know that game at all. Never heard of it until the other day. I love Linus, but the man goes out of his way to be at least offensive as possible to potential sponsors. Yeah, yeah. It's most big YouTube content creators have to be. They have to be like, oh, you know, this, all that. See, I don't care about that. I'll say the performance of what it is. I am a hardcore overclocker. I was first place in my division last year and fourth place overall in Canada for overclockers. And let's just say I go over a whole bunch of things. I don't just go over leaks. I'll put stuff to the ringer, like overclock it myself and all that. If not, I'll go off of trustworthy forums, trustworthy YouTubers, not just because they got sponsored, the way they did the 5070 Ti, and all the content creators use the 9800X 3D. That does not make sense. Not everyone's going to have a 9800X 3D, okay? If you are a content creator or you make videos and game at the same time on a single PC, 9800X 3D is going to be the worst possible thing for you. It's only 8-core, 16-thread CPU. As soon as you start recording and or streaming on, or both, which I do, I am currently streaming and recording at the exact same time, 4K. So there's a lot of demand on your CPU at that point. I use, as you can see, I don't have like a back screen or anything like that. I use Nvidia's background removal tool, which is puts more strain on the actual CPU, and you need a good GPU to be able to do it. I have a 30 series card, good enough, and works good enough for me. But I don't just go over leaks. I don't go over performance and that. I go over overclockability and actual world records. Like if anyone's heard of Splave, I am in Team WEG, which Splave is in Team WEG. We are the second best, almost first best overclocking team in the world. We only have 150 members versus the next one up that has thousands of members, and we are almost first place. We're going to try to get our best to be first place, of course. But I work with the best overclockers in the world, like Splave, Sebi, Benchmark, like top tier overclockers, people that know what they're talking about. Also talk to Bill Zoid too and all that too, on Discord, of course, right? So like there's stuff that I'll go through that a lot of people don't go through. Content creators have to be very mindful. They can say certain things about certain stuff just because they have to say certain things so it doesn't make them look like they're bowing down to the company that's sponsoring them. But there's things I will say that are a little bit more harsher and or be more real. Like I will tell you, like this card's just technically better than this card. Doesn't matter about the price to performance. Who cares about the price and that? If you want the best of the best, I'll tell you what the best of the best is. If you're looking for workstation stuff, I'll tell you workstation. If you just want strictly gaming and you're just gonna be gaming on a PC, I'll tell you what you need and what will work just fine for you. Either budget build, like budget friendly, or if you don't have a budget, I'll give you what you want, exactly what you want, what you need, what you're gonna expect, and you will be basically happy with what I tell you, because I'm not gonna give you some bullshit like a lot of companies and big YouTubers. Performance leaked for the 9070 XT. Yes, AMD came out with the performance leak themselves, which was awesome. So if we go, give me 1 second here. Which one is it? This one. Yes. Did I put it up there? Why is it not going up there? Why? Work. Oh, I was doing it wrong, my bad. I'm not sure what you're saying. Speaking of being Canadian, is that 650 price tag Canadian, US? US, unfortunately, buddy. US. 999 CAD, I hear. So we can just do some quick math, to be honest here. Let's get out the calculator. Right now our dollar is 1.38 less. So if we go 649.99, there, 1.38, I believe we are at right now. We're more or less looking around 890, like 900 price range, not 1,000, but $900 for Canadian, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that is what we're looking at. And if you're just joining, here's the actual performance. And I'll get out the notepad as well and show you. Again, this is what AMD said versus a 7900 GRE, and they said out of 30 games, it's roughly a 38% increase from the 7900 GRE to the 9070 XT. Okay, so a plus 38%. And I did the math on all the game, well, on a bunch of games from Z-Worms that did it. Not all the games, of course, but I did a bunch while I was live streaming, so I didn't want to make the stream as boring as possible for everyone, because I was just putting my head down, crunching some numbers, basically. But yeah, the performance, so this is everything you're gonna be looking at. 390 millimeters squared, blah blah blah. It's gonna have the new HDMI 2.1a, which is 240 hertz at 4K, I believe. Memory type is just DDR6. It's one card. The right here, the XFX Mercury RX 9070 XT OC Magnetic Air Edition. Holy crap, that is a mouthful. It is slightly overclocked from factory with the memory. Also, the memory is overclocked from factory, which tells me it could be GDDR6X memory on this card. I could be wrong. No, that does include tariffs apparently. The 649. I should say I should redo the edit the video here and say that the 9070 is supposed to be 649, and they're saying 9070 XT is 749. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that too. And again, Amazon did the leak a while back and was just put out there like, oh, Amazon put it out there. These were the prices, US prices, of course, of the 9070 XT. So could be wrong. It could be wrong, right? Don't quote me, but that's the price that Amazon had put up and had to be taken down because the card's technically not out. So But yeah, the overclocked 9070 XT here. Awesome to see that manufacturer didn't overclock, and these numbers just show that it could be GDDR6X memory, which is ECC error correcting memory, which higher gigabits per second, which puts us from the 624 gigabits per second to a bandwidth of 644, and that will be from 19 right here 19.5 gigabits per second effective to 20.1 gigabits per second effective. Everything does change, yes. But they did say that this is with the tariffs applied, and this kind of got speculated from Spain, that these were the prices, not the prices that were going to be at Spain, but the prices of US dollar that it's going to be with the 21% increase of tariffs. So it could be different. Is AMD having a keynote or something like that end of the month? AMD already had a keynote back in CES, and they didn't leak anything. And if you follow them on like Twitter or whatever it is, they also do. They did a lot of jokes saying it was going to be like 10,000 cores. It's going to have 320 gigabytes of VRAM, and a lot of people were like, "Holy crap, that's a lot." Good luck getting that amount of VRAM. It's not even going to be a 32 gigabyte of VRAM. They're just making fun of Nvidia more or less for the 5090 having so much VRAM, and yeah. Nice. I know. Oh, make the screen bigger so we can read too. Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I was hoping you could already read that. There you go. Hopefully that looks fairly good. I am already zoomed in on the actual website, so oh, that's not what I want. I want this. It looks fairly decent. Hopefully you guys can read that. Also heard that the leak performance is skewed because RT uplift was especially high. The raw raster uplift isn't as impressive. Again, I'm pretty sure Nvidia here. Oh, thank you for subscribing there, SD. I hate saying people's names. I butcher them. So SD Sakuragi, thank you for subscribing. The RT increase, are you saying for the 9070 XT? Because even with the increase of like ray traceability on AMD, it's still not going to match Nvidia, unfortunately. Hey man, I ain't young either. Okay, we'll go back to here. So, as you can see, all this is again all on techpowerup.com if you'd like to check it out yourself. We got the 5070 and 9070 XT on here. This right here is the XFX Mercury RX 9070 XT OC Magnetic Air Edition. Again, that is a crazy name, super long, but this is the performance of it. Again, they're not saying how big the card is. It's not like the Gigabyte Aorus 9070 XT Elite quad slot, which is insane. Huge, thick card. That's a sick boy right there. AMD did say the official announcement for the new cards would be on the 28th. Yes, I already said this. Review embargo lifted on the 5th, and they should be on sale on the 6th. Okay, so it is going to be the 6th. I thought it was going to be the 5th, to be honest. So it's going to be the 6th. Thank you for letting me know about that. Yeah, official announcements, but I'll get another screen here set up on my notepad. Ooh, it's actually a little big. Nah, I guess we just keep that up for now, actually. I'll just get rid of it in a second. So, again, these numbers here are what I'm getting from AMD themselves, okay? So, these performance numbers versus the 7900 GRE these are the numbers I'm getting after just crunching some numbers of what AMD said. And we can check out videocards.com and I'll show you that. So we'll go here. switch this one over to here. Hopefully you guys can read all that. I can zoom in too if you'd like. So if we go here, AMD Radeon RX 97 series gaming performance leak. RX 97 XT is 42% faster on average than 7900 GRE at 4K. This is not true. 48% is not what they said. They said it was 38%, so 42%. I'm not getting that. For 4K, I thought it was less than the 1440p 2K. I thought it was less than, which is 38%. And this just came out February 23rd. And I did this on another live stream, so this is what I went off of for the notepad, the 38% right here of 30 games right here. If we scroll down, this is kind of the numbers that they're saying. I can zoom in a bit more here, make that look a little bit better for everybody. Get rid of that. And here we go. So 1440p Ultra, it's going to be 104%. Again, this is for the 9070 versus 7900 GRE, and the RX 9070 XT versus 7900 GRE. So 104, and then 9070 XT is supposed to be 23%. Crazy. Was it just in one? Yeah, I thought so. But that's with ray tracing on. That's crazy. They did numbers with ray tracing on. Generally, they don't do it with the ray tracing on. They do it with ray tracing off and put those numbers up, because with ray tracing on, you're losing a lot of performance. And since AMD's ray tracing cores are not that great, the performance usually isn't that great. So that's actually nice to see. That is actually nice to see, man. So again, 9070, 4%, 9%, 11%, 68% already. I'm not sure. I only know. I know Cyberpunk. This is with ray tracing. 33%. Dying Light 2. 32%. Watch Dogs Legion is an older. I guess it's not super old, but Watch Dogs 25%. Star Wars Outlaw 22. Far Cry 6 26. Avatar Frontiers, which is I believe the new one, 12%. Black Myth Wukong is 22%, which is crazy. Black Myth Wukong is. It's only on Ultra, it's not on Cinema, but still a big increase, what do you want to call it. Yeah, you see how their T-on tests look better. Raster isn't impressive. Nah, yeah, I hear ya. And that could be due to the fact, like I showed in the other screen there, that could be due to the fact that they're still using GDDR6 memory, and the actual like bandwidth isn't that high technically, because they're only on PCIe 4.0. They're not going to PCIe 5.0. So are they being limited due to the fact that it's on 4.0? And are they going to be using PCIe 5.0 with their higher end cards, like their 9080 XT or 990 XT, whatever they're going to do? They have a new RT chiplet on the die for RDNA 4, from what I understand. Yes, they do. Ray tracing means nothing while you're getting beaten in an FPS. True. Most people are going to be on a first-person shooter FPS game, or there are a lot of people like these F1 games, which they probably will use ray tracing, but generally they want the frames as well with them. But I guess there is a lot of people that they don't do multiplayer games either, and they prefer like just the PvP, just playing by themselves, playing a game, want 4K ultra settings with ray tracing. So who knows? I should see. I do check out Steam once in a while, see what the GPU usage is and what games are the best, and I try to do some videos on the top end games that are being played, like most played games this month or this week, depends. We'll see what people are doing nowadays. We'll see. I haven't played Star Wars Outlaws, Black Myth Wukong, I've done the benchmark. I just usually do benchmarks on games. I don't even do any of these games. COD Black Ops 6, Call of Duty, I will be doing some benchmarks on that here soon. Just downloaded it. 100 gigabytes. Holy moly. Huge. Absolutely massive. 100 gigabytes. So I will be doing a video here soon on that. But yeah, it's the performance gains that they're saying is crazy. Crazy. Again, these numbers, if I don't know if they said it here. No. Maybe it was just Tom's Hardware that said it was AMD that gave these numbers, but these numbers are from AMD themselves. To be fair, most people are not just CPU or GPU bottleneck. People like me would be monitor bottleneck. Yeah, that's why when I have people come on to the stream or whatnot, and I have streams, like I like to keep track of like across the world what people are using for the systems, like temperatures and that too, because it is good for me for overclocking. And some GPUs are built different than others, so it's good to see what kind of cooling is in what part of the world and whatnot, because they did send like a bunch of 4090s out to like I think Africa and that too, and they had to be the beefier models to keep them cool, or else you wouldn't be able to play on them. But the monitor I've used for, I had a monitor, it's Asus monitor. It's just a 60 hertz, 27-inch monitor. Was top of the line back in the day, 1080p top of the line monitor. Had it for like 8 years, and I just used that monitor, 60 hertz. And then when you're increasing the performance of your GPU and CPU, even your whatever, your whole system, and you're not upgrading your monitor, you're not going to get any gains. There's no gains. Now I'm on a 165 hertz monitor and 32 inch, but I use a Samsung Odyssey 32 inch 1080p 165 hertz monitor now, and that's great. It's perfect, more than enough than what I need. For most people, 165 hertz is all you need. You're not really gonna gain for getting a 360 hertz or 540 hertz monitor. But having a higher refresh rate with like a 2K or 4K monitor, that might be a bit nicer for visual. With the higher refresh rate, will make things nice and smooth as well. So that's always good. Yeah, when you only have a 4K 144 hertz monitor, it doesn't really matter if the brick can put out 180 or 300. And then you also got to look at like the 1% lows, right? If you're not looking at the 1% lows and you're wondering why the game feels really stuttery, that would be your issue, is your 1% lows. And AMD does have a bad track record with their 1% lows, just being really low due to the fact they call it AM dip and all that. More or less comes from the CPUs, not really the GPUs, but the CPU line. And some videos I checked out on YouTube, it's still kind of a thing. Even with the 9800X 3D, the lows are a bit lower on a lot of the games than, let's say, like a 14900K. The lows are lower than the 14900K, but the frames are technically a little bit better. Not much, but it is better. So, what if you have issues with your game feeling stuttering, that check out to see if the frames are lower than what your refresh rate is. If they are lower, try to lower the refresh rate of your monitor just that little bit, and then maybe that will hopefully help things. Then some people also use VSync or G-Sync. That does help, but if your 1% lows are going below refresh rate, you're still gonna have issues with stuttering. Just setting the VSync while you have a high-end system just means it's limiting their frames being rendered, so your CPU and GPU don't have to put out as much power to keep those frames, because it's not going to want to do 300, 400 frames when your monitor is only 165 hertz. Most of the gains I feel is just render time for video or batch photos. Yeah. Yeah. There's they're not degrading that much. I'm still using my 13900K. I've had 13900KF as well, 12900K and 12600K. I find the 13900K works really good. Haven't had any issues with it, except for Marvel Rivals, but I'm pretty sure that's game engine, because all I had to do was lower the actual voltage going to the CPU core to fix it, lower the voltage, which is odd. So there might have been just issues where the game was asking for too much CPU power, then all of a sudden it doesn't need that, so it's spiking the voltage and crashing. And yeah, I just fixed that with lowering the voltage and upping the frequency, upping the core frequency and lowering the voltage. I did have a 13900KF that was from the batch of bad oxidized CPUs, and I still didn't see any issue. Probably due to the fact I didn't do any stock settings. Again, I'm a hardcore overclocker. I overclock everything manually as soon as I get it. I don't care about stock settings whatsoever, never have, and will continue to do it. And again, with my 13900KF, no issues with that either. No issues. And that was from a guaranteed defective, oxidized, straight from factory, bad boxed CPU. I haven't really seen anybody with a bad 14900K. But if anyone does have any, if you've had a 13900K, a 14900K that was defective or crashes all the time, let me know. Let me know what it does crash on. The defective ones or the ones that are degraded or have been degraded crash when just opening up YouTube. So if you can't even watch YouTube, let me know and tell me your thoughts on that. I would like to test out some new AMD stuff. Just right now I'm saving up for another motherboard so that way I can make a dedicated streaming PC. Probably go with like a Z690 or Z790, we'll see. Have been a fan of my Z690 ORS Master. It's been great, really good for overclocking and overclocking the RAM. Even on a 4-DIMM board, it overclocks really good. And it does have NVMe Gen 5 and just PCIe 4.0 for GPU. Okay, if we can go back to that one to show if anyone wants to see some more of this. And let me know if you guys are thinking about getting the 9070 XT, what GPU you're on now, what CPU you're on now. Let me know your thoughts on that. Again, I'm with a 13900K 3070 Ti, NVMe's 980 Pro motherboard, Z690 ORS Master, all on a custom water loop with custom monoblock for the CPU. All I know is if I keep getting ads on YouTube to join a class action against Intel, 1, I'm on AMD. 2, I don't trust a lawyer whose name is Cyclone or just Cyclone, no last name. That's funny. I wonder where they're getting their information from if you keep getting ads for that. Can't you put it into YouTube that you don't want to see any more of those kind of ads and it'll start giving you different ads? I'm pretty sure you can. Cyclone. Intel's already going through right now lawsuit over their stuff still. And is it really Intel's fault that TSMC made their chips? That's all I know. And you've got to remember, I made videos a long time ago. We're talking like 6-7 months ago about Intel and their oxidation and all that. Again, a lot of the issue was motherboard manufacturers putting on stock settings the absolute limit of the CPU. So like they're putting up to 1.6 volts into the CPU and up to 500 amp. There's certain sections of the CPU for what it should be. So like you got the stock minimum, and then you got their for like enthusiasts, their overclocking spec. Everything's maxed out. No low line, no power load. Everything is up as high as it can go. Allowed up to 500 amps and 1.6 volts, and they were putting that into stock. That was motherboard manufacturers. Asus was a bad one for it. Even just in the actual like motherboard BIOS, it was hitting the CPU with 1.6 volts or more, which is absolutely insane. And that's not Intel's fault. That's the motherboard manufacturers trying to get the best of the best, saying they have the best of the best. So can't just blame Intel. Again, there's some things were Intel's fault. So yes, you could blame Intel for some things, but a lot of people don't realize motherboard manufacturers really screwed up big time. Intel now put in place onto the new chips more or less procedures that they cannot do that again, and told motherboard manufacturers basically screw it. All you motherboard manufacturers from Intel from here on out are basically going to be all the same. Every motherboard, doesn't matter what brand you're getting it from, they're going to be about the same, because they're not going to have different limits they can go to. It's stock settings from Intel. If you use anything but stock settings on stock settings, they'll probably get a class action lawsuit themselves. I really hate Nvidia's BS, but I have to get a 50 series. Gaming aside, a lot of what I do relies on CUDA. Yeah, so Nvidia, again, they are top of the line for workstations. I mean, they sell most of their stuff to the data centers for a reason, because they have the best computing power. They have the best SLI, right? NVLink. They're still doing the linkage. If anyone's watched my live streams on the CAS, they got the new little supercomputer with the Blackwell CPU, Blackwell GPU put into it, and yeah, so it's like this big, and apparently you can stack them and link them together and get more performance, and it's just a little mini supercomputer that you can put on your desk for extra performance, which is awesome. 50 series cards also have a better encoder, so like what I'm using here now, again, the encoder is doing the getting rid of the background there. The encoder does the streaming. Use the encoder on NVIDIA 30 series cards for streaming, video editing, all that kind of stuff. NVIDIA is better for the encoders. It's better for workstation type stuff, so editing, more or less editing, but there's also AI for AI simulations and stuff. NVIDIA is better as well. Digit? I don't know, what do you mean by digit? $3,000 and has half the power of a 10-year-old supercomputer. $3,000? Oh yeah, yeah. The supercomputer. Yeah. They CES, they said that's the name that they're gonna put it as, but if people wanted to put in their own name for it, and they could, and Nvidia might change the name of the supercomputer. $3,000 though? That's what they're saying? Brutal. Yes. So the 9070 XT will have a better encoder. So it doesn't matter that you're looking at 7900 XTX or 7900 XT or the 7900 GRE. The Radeon RX 7000 series GPUs all used in the same encoder. Okay, it's all the same encoder, but NVIDIA. So the 9070 XT or Radeon RX 9000 series encoders are going to perform like NVIDIA's 40 series encoders, if that makes sense. They're always going to be a generation behind in performance for encoders. Yeah, yeah, that is the name that they were saying. That is true. The name of the small computer is Digit, yes, and I forgot what it stands for. It actually stands for something. But they also said in CES, like they're gonna put up something so like if people want to change the name, they can change the name, or they might change the name. Okay, they might. Not saying they will, but they said you could put in your own name and see if Nvidia likes it. If they like it, they'll change it. But considering how much a 5090 is, 3000 for a full computer sounds downright reasonable. Yeah, correct. Especially for the scalping price. It's supposed to be $2,000, but you're seeing the card prices are around $3,000 or $2,500 up. Yeah, no problem, man. And that's just what the encoder. That's just the way the encoders work. It's always Nvidia's always been better for a lot of things. That's why Nvidia's really good. It's because they have a lot of things. Like as soon as ray tracing came out, Nvidia came out with it. Technically, the 1080 Ti does do ray tracing, not very well, but like your 2080 is built off the 1080 Ti's core. Just put in ray tracing, better ray trace, a little bit better ray tracing, but the encoder is better. I wanted to buy an RTX 5070 Ti, but Nvidia is pretty fishy with their connector shenanigans. I agree with that. The 12 volt high power connector doesn't make sense on a 5070 Ti. They could have just used two 8 pins, just like what AMD is doing, is two 8-pin connectors on their 9070 XTs. I know you shouldn't technically worry about but if you look and let's say the 5070 Ti is doing the same thing that the 5090 is doing with the connectors, and it's pulling 23 watts from one power connector and like 1 and 2 or 3 watts from the other ones, it's still going to do the same thing on a 5070 Ti. It will still pull the 20 watts or 20 plus watts or amps, sorry, 20 plus amps through the one wire. Doesn't matter if it's 5090 or not, unless they have a little bit something else is different or wrong in 5090 and it's pulling through that one connector for no reason. But it's a 600 watt. The 12 volt high powered is a 600 watt, technically like 660 watt max TDP for the 12 volt high power. 300 watts for the 5070 Ti is half of that, so there shouldn't be an issue. It's just stupid that they actually use the 12 volt high power connector versus the 8 pin. There's nothing wrong with the 8 pin. There was nothing wrong with the 8 pin. It's usually the XX90 that melts cables. Yeah, yeah, the 90 series card. Just because the 3090, like 450 watt 3090, 500 something watt 4090, 550 I think it was, and then 600 watt for 5090. So it's a lot of wattage. But again, is that due to is the melting connector due to the fact? Because I was watching a video on Jay's 2 cents, and DeBauer also did it, more or less. DeBauer that I saw first actually. He was showing with thermal camera that the PSU side was getting really, really hot. What if the PSUs are the issue? Because once you heat up the wire or put too much power through the connectors and all that, and it goes to the GPU is going to get unstable voltage signal, so it's going to want to request more voltage or amperage through those wires. And if it's only going through the one wire and it's just going to continuously get hot, you're going to get melting no matter what. So I don't know if it is PSU side or GPU side yet. There'll have to be some more tests done, but from what I've seen from multiple different people is the PSU side is technically getting hotter than the GPU side. So what if it's just the PSU given the wrong amperage through the one wire, and it's causing that issue? Because once you heat up again, you start heating the wires up, you're starting to get the voltage into the GPU a lot more unstable than what it should be for the current, and then all of a sudden the GPU just can't handle it, spikes, and there you go. There goes the GPU side. it's not just the connector, but missing ROPS scalper situation. Even Nvidia fans are thinking about swapping to AMD. That's true. It's very true. Missing ROPS on 5090 and 5070 Ti is pretty crazy, actually. Eight right off the bat, and that would be from. Not sure if TSMC puts it straight to the actual GPU manufacturers like Asus, Gigabyte, and all them. So would that be TSMC's fault, or would that be Nvidia's fault for signing off on these? Quality check. Or what if they knew about it and just didn't care? The scalper price, you can't really say anything. It's not Nvidia's fault that they're scalpers, but the scalping's been around for a long time, especially for certain GPUs. Especially for, again, Nvidia puts out their cards on the first quarter, which is early in the year, so there's always issues with the first quarter. More or less want to look at third and fourth quarter for GPU, especially for pricing, because pricing goes down as everyone wants new, right? And you got overclockers, and I'm an overclocker. I wish I had all the hardware so that way I can overclock all the hardware. I just want to own or be able to test every GPU and CPU out there. I do have a lot, but not all. Hey, scalpers are people too. They have families to feed. Did you see some of the prices of 5090? They're selling them for like someone sold multiple 5090s for $6,000. 6,000. He made over $22,000 off of 4 graphics cards. Then they should find a way to make an honest living. Correct. I agree. I agree. I've bought in GPUs that are way out of price. My 3070 Ti, bought it for around $1,600 when it basically first came out. And yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a card that was, what, $750 supposed to be? Or $599? But I paid 1,600 Canadian. Absolutely insane. I don't want to blame Nvidia. Again, you gotta think about Amazon does scalping too. So don't just think people. Also, big companies scalp people all the time. I don't want to blame Nvidia only for the scalper situation, but I heard rumors that Nvidia holds back their stocks. I wouldn't say they hold back their stocks. You gotta remember that they're continuously manufacturing them. So like TSMC might send out batches of these cores to manufacturers to build the GPUs. And then like you gotta think TSMC makes all this stuff. So like they gotta go through, be made for the cores, and then sent probably maybe to Nvidia for quality check. Then even though I'm pretty sure TSMC does all the quality check anyway, so it could be packaged up from TSMC to the manufacturers. So I don't think they hold back the stock. I think as they're being made, they're shipping out all the good ones, missing ROPs for their cores to the manufacturers. Manufacturers can only build them so fast and ship them out in bulk to the actual retailers like Micro Center, Canadian Computers. Nvidia doesn't hold back stock, they hold back production capacity they reserve for producing enterprise AI cards. I agree with that actually. You gotta think, you gotta remember, and I've said this a lot, many times way back, a couple days ago too. Nvidia, AMD, Intel, they don't care about us. They make more money on the side than GPUs. Nvidia for mainly makes their money off of their data centers and all of that. All the workstation GPUs, all their workstation CPUs, all their data centers, CPUs and GPUs and supercomputers and that. They make their money there. GPUs just is basically like a hobby for them. They make some money off of it, so it's kind of nice. It puts their name out more, so helps them out for marketing wise, but more or less, nah. Nvidia does not make a whole lot of money off of their graphics cards. Yes, they have way higher margin demand. I 100% agree. Like their one Blackwell supercomputer, when they're showing it off, was $1 million for a portion of it, for half of it, $1 million. And then, oh, you want to be able to connect it to this thing because it can do this? Well, that's another $1 million. They sold like hotcakes, $1 million per unit. You'd have to sell how many 5090s to hit $1 million? What up there, MFR FPV? Good morning. Good morning. What you see on the screen here, if you're new to the live stream, new to the channel, welcome. This right here is for their XFX Mercury RX 9070 XT OC Magnetic Air Edition. I should change the title. The title should be $649 for the 9070, not the XT model. $749 is probably going to be the price for the XT model, but I should just keep it the same as $649 because it could be $649. These are leaked numbers from Amazon from a while back. Amazon accidentally put up some numbers for the 9070 cards. They had to be taken down, of course, though. Just like lowering the nanometer, like we're at almost a theoretical limit for hardware, for silicon. We're almost at our limit for the hardware. So the only way we're gonna get more performance is if we keep increasing power. It's the only way we're gonna get actual, like, not AI generated frames and that kind of extra performance, is we have to keep increasing the power. That's why the 5090s are 600 watts. Yeah, me either. 649 would be pretty cool. I was thinking 549 would be a good price for them to be at, because that would be kind of back with like their 57, I would say like their 5080s to 5700 XTs. I guess you could say 5070s. But like the 5700 XTs, that price range, it's not going to cost you like an arm and a leg, because it's not the greatest performance in my opinion, because you're losing out on the actual like encoder, you're losing out on ray traceability versus Nvidia for about the same price. If you want to be able to afford NVIDIA GPUs, you should have done what I did during the crypto boom when I couldn't even find a GPU. I put the money I was going to spend on GPU into NVIDIA stock. Now I could buy 2059s at Amazon or one at Scalper. Yeah, 600 watt is insane. So what I did with the crypto boom, so when the 30 series card, I bought a whole bunch of 3070 Ti's. And what a lot of the crypto miners, and I guess you could say some more enthusiasts wanted to do, was be able to overclock the RAM more, overclock the GPU more. So what I did was I bought multiple 3070 Ti's and I copper modded them, like professionally copper modded the cards, and then sold them for a profit. So that way I could buy more. Now I have a bind. If you guys know what bind is. If not, just let me know in the comment section. I'll let you know what binning, GPU, CPUs, RAM, and all that. I'll let you know what that means. But I binned a whole bunch of 3070 Ti's. So now I have a 3070 Ti that holds multiple records for performance. I have one of the fastest 3070 Ti's in the world, and part of the process of getting the fastest is being able to bin it, and that's how I binned my 3070 Ti. It's because of the crypto boom, or 30 series cards. A lot of people wanted their cards to be copper modded. 600 watt my entire first PC. Yeah, I can probably agree on that. Although the performance wise, you're talking like 5 times, 6 times the performance, right? Depending on how old your PC was. But like if we go back to like the GTX 770, that's a 230 watt TDP card. Just a GTX 770 performs like crap nowadays. or it was a decent card back in the day. But then you had like a 300 watt 980 Ti. Its performance isn't that great. Or GTX 1080 Ti, which is a 250, 270 watt card. So as long as they can keep doing the efficiency, like what Nvidia has been doing too, is the wattage is still 300 watt TDP for their 70 Ti's, which is good. Keeping it around 300 watts is good for getting the performance gains out of it versus like a 4070 Ti. It's good. Like it's performing 22% better. So 22% better than a 4070 Ti is what they're saying here. It's not really true. I don't think 22%. I thought it was only like 6 to 9% better than a 4070 Ti. Not even versus like a 4070 Ti Super. So as long as they can keep the wattage around the same and keep increasing the efficiency, that would be great. Having all these issues with missing ROPs or like just melting connectors and all that with the 5090, it's not good. But with like the 9070 XT here, I'm not sure why they're using GDDR6 memory. I just don't know why. Just because of the way this is overclocked slightly, I'm pretty sure this is GDDR6X memory on this card, but they're using GDDR6 and PCIe 4.0, so you're losing performance there. 2080 Super was my first card, man. I just got here. Nice. Welcome to the channel, man. I have a 2080 Super. My 2080 Super is a water-cooled EVGA Hydro Copper 2080 Super for the win. I got it in my box beside me. I can get it out later if someone wants to see it. It's a very nice looking card. I think I only have one record so far on it. A lot of second and third places. It's another bin card. It's a really good. It's a really good card. I'm still on a 2080 that I bought off of a miner, and probably works just fine, right? Going from 2060 to 7900 XTX right now. That's a big step up, man. That's a huge step up. DLSS. If anyone doesn't know, DLS stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. Has really extended the life of that card for me. And yet, and being able to go to DLSS 4, you're not going to get all the performance of DLSS 4, or even like for like your 40 series cards, you're not going to be able to get all the DLSS 4 performance gains, but it does help. It does give a lot more boost. You're looking for more frames, just update your driver, make sure everything's set. By the way, if you have not their SD, you can go into Nvidia's app there, or Nvidia's control panel, and you're gonna have to set some things to K model, to the K type, so that way everything is set to DLSS 4 in games, so that way it's still not running DLSS. It could be at 3.5 depending on which one you're using, or DLSS 3. It depends on what it's on right now, but you have to set to K type, so that way every game or whatever you're using it for is still, it's actually using DLSS 4. Actually, I heard the 9070 XT actually requires PCIe 5.0. And everywhere I've been reading, doesn't matter if it's on Tech Power Up or video cards, it's PCIe 4.0 by 16. So someone might have something wrong on that, but the bus interface here is PCIe 4.0 by 16. We'll have to see when it gets released, March 6th, or February 28th. February 28th, I'm going to be getting up early, going over everything I can, and doing a live stream right off the bat. So if you guys want to join the live stream February 28th, so in 3 days here, I will be doing a live stream on the actual performance and price of the 9070 and 9070 XT. So I don't get why it needs PCIe 5.0 when it's only going to be PCIe 4.0. If it requires PCIe 5.0, you literally have to be on like a new motherboard and a CPU, and that can handle it. So odd, very odd. So no Z690s, you have to be on a Z790 at least. For AMD, you're gonna need they're the newest motherboards and CPU, if that is true. But what I don't get why I would need PCIe 5.0 if its bus interface is only 4.0. So that is very odd. I'll read up on it, but I'm more or less probably gonna wait for February 28th to get the actual numbers of exactly what it's gonna be. These are kind of leaks. AMD did leak a bunch of stuff of their own onto this, so, and the numbers that they're getting here from different manufacturers, because there are manufacturers that have these already and could be leaking their own information. Doesn't mean it's going to be AMD's information, but at least it's something to go off of. I hope it's not true as well, because that does not make sense. It does not make sense at all. Why would you have to be running on a PCIe 5.0 if it's going to be 4.0? Or is it going to be PCIe 5.0 by 8 that you need at least? Even still, it doesn't make sense why you would have to do that. If anyone knows more about that, let me know. But from what I've been gathering from different forums and like PC hardware websites, it's PCIe 4.0 by 16. Again, same bus width as memory bus as 5070 Ti, not the same memory, GDDR6. So apparently GDDR6 memories cost roughly $5 per gigabyte. So maybe that's why. So that way they can keep the cards cheaper. They only went on GDDR6X. Maybe that's why. Could be wrong there though, but I just don't get why they're on GDDR6. I actually need some better encoder performance for streaming. Is the RX 97 XT enough for encoder? Yeah, so the 9000 series could perform like the 4000 series encoder. So yes, it will be. I do encoding my 30 series, so I use 3070 Ti and I do 4K, and it seems to work just fine. Haven't really had an issue. Some of my videos are, I think the biggest video I've had was something like 8 hours, and it was over 200 gigabytes for the video, and I could edit it no problem. No problem. It was very smooth. But I also have a 13900K, lots of cores, so, and overclocked to my spec. WQ HD is 2K. Yeah, no problem, man. It'd be no problem. It's a 9070 XT encoder, or Radeon 9000 series graphics cards will be, the encoder is roughly the performance of the 40 series cards, so it'd be no problem. If I'm using the 30 series card, then yeah, no problem for you. Now, if you're looking at doing like 8K in that, then you're going to need something a little bit heftier. 8K is a lot. But most people just do 4K. I am currently 4K streaming and 4K recording at the same time, while my encoder is getting rid of the background. It doesn't look the greatest right now, but it is what it is, because I move around too much. But yeah, like I said, I'm streaming at 4K, recording at 4K, and doing getting rid of background, all with 30 series card encoder. Works pretty good. But I'll be back in like two, maybe 3 minutes. So if anyone wants to let me know what kind of GPU or CPU you're using and what you want to upgrade to, or ask me, any questions of your own, let me know, and I'll read them when I get back here. Make sure you guys have your coffee or morning tea, whatever you guys do. Oh, yeah, you need to go to bed. Yeah, I hear you on that. If it's 4 a.m., geez. Have yourself a good night, man. It's almost 7 a.m. here. Boom. Oh, that's another big step up, man. That's huge. Going from a 2700 to a 9950X, huge. If you checked out the leak of, again, I have a lot of videos out there, a lot of live streams and videos out there of leaks and that too for those CPUs, GPUs. The 9950X is insane. It is 16 core CPU, absolutely insane. Like it's a beast, absolute beast. Especially for like the overclocking world for a 16 core, having something with that much power, it's insane. But if you need like, the 9950X wouldn't be the greatest for like gaming. You wouldn't get the best frames like a 9800X 3D. But if you're gonna be doing recording or streaming or both at the same time, you're gonna want more cores. You're gonna need more cores. So having a 16 core CPU like the 9950X is gonna outbeat the 9800X 3D if you're gaming, streaming, and recording. Yeah, like a 9950X versus the 12900K demolishes it. I mean, demolishes it. It was demolishing the 12900K that was overclocked to 7 gigahertz, I believe it was, somewhere around 7 gigahertz. The 12900K was overclocked to. The 9950X was on a water-cooled loop, not liquid nitrogen or anything, and just slightly overclocked and destroying the 12900K, destroying it in actual benchmarks. Yeah, if you're doing editing as well. The 5700X 3D is a really good CPU as well, especially for price to performance. Yeah, if you're doing editing and all that too, you're gonna want more cores. You're definitely gonna want more cores. And you're definitely gonna need to like a decent encoder on the GPU. The CPU side, the encoders on the Intel are technically better than AMD as well. So, but if you're going to be going with the 9950X, you're going to be going with, I think you said there, what did you say there for the GPU? The 7900 XTX, I believe you said, was the GPU you're going to be using. It's the encoder on it. It's going to be great. You can use that for streaming, recording, editing videos and stuff like that. 4K will be snappy. Like you won't have to wait around going, like if you have to scroll through really large files of 4K, really long videos, it can be really slow, really choppy as you're going through it, trying to figure out how to edit it. And I do a lot of editing too. I'm not the greatest, of course. It's not really my thing. I'm an overclocker, so I just know overclocking more or less. But I've been trying my best to get better at editing videos. Not easy. The 5700X 3D is a really good CPU too. Again, 3D cache is awesome. Price to performance, again, awesome. But if you're just looking for like the 5700X 3D, you're more or less going to be doing just gaming on it. You're not going to be recording and streaming at the same time. Just not enough cores. It will be really nice, man. It will be. Seth Dommings. If AMD launches the 9070 XT at 750, they're killing their GPU division. Hey man, that's... can't say much about it. Again, those numbers are from Amazon, and an Amazon leak of their 9070 and 9070 XT. So the 9070 is going to be $649. Their XT model is going to be $100 more. Hope they don't make it 750, but probably is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And since Intel had the issue with the 13th and 14th gen CPUs, AMD's been nothing but upping the prices of their CPUs and GPUs. Because more people are buying them. Not really, yes and no. A lot of people are buying Nvidia still and Intel. Just because a lot of people are not just gaming on their PC, they're streaming, editing. There are a lot of people that just game on their PCs and probably do use just AMD products, or like the 9800X 3D, 5800X 3D is still a really good CPU. The 7000X 3D is pretty good as well. Like, you can't complain about it. But the price of $750 is a lot for AMD, which used to be a, you know, price to performance, the best of the best. Like AMD was like price to performance, always top of the boards versus Intel and Nvidia. So if they just keep upping the prices the way they are, they're not going to be up there for price to performance anymore. AMD never misses the opportunity to miss an opportunity. Insane. Yeah, fingers crossed they will cut it last second. I hope they do too. A lot of people say I'm an Intel fan or Nvidia fan. I am a PC hardware enthusiast. I don't care what, like, if it's AMD, Intel, Nvidia. I don't care. As long as it performs the way it's supposed to perform, doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and or if it is just the best of the best, like Nvidia makes the best of best GPUs, they just are, then I'll just say they are. They cannot say anything but facts. Nvidia RTX 5000 has so many problems. The AMD has the perfect opportunity. Yes, they do. Right now they technically do have the perfect opportunity. Just to maybe they're taking the opportunity. Oh, because people probably won't be buying these now because there's so many issues. They're gonna buy AMD. Nah, it's not how people work. 750 is suicidal for AMD. Can't be more than $599 for the 9070 XT. And yet it's going to be apparently $649 for the 9070. Would like to stream in 4K, multi-streaming and recording with my 5700 XT and RX 9070 XT. Could be a bit rough. Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of frames. A lot of frames. So with my 13900K and 3070 Ti, while streaming and recording at the same time at 4K, I lose not a whole lot of frames, but as soon as I disable the E cores and just put it to P cores and even overclocking the P cores at that, I lose a lot of frames. I'm talking, so Marvel Rivals, I'm generally doing close to 300, 400 frames while not streaming or recording. And as soon as I start streaming and recording, 8 cores, I'm down to like 100 frames. I'm losing like 200 frames. It's a big jump, man. It's a big jump. Recording and streaming, you need cores. You need the cores to be able to handle it. Not less the encoder. The encoder is a separate piece of the GPU, so like it doesn't really it doesn't really hinder the performance of the GPU for rendering the frames. But since the cores are not there, you can't really make the GPU perform the way it should if the cores aren't there. And most games you're gonna need for these higher end games, you're gonna need 6-core 12 thread minimum. You can do 4-core 8 thread. 6-core 12 threads the best. 8-core 16 threads okay, but that's strictly just gaming on it. As soon as you start recording, especially at 4K, just recording, you're losing cores. 3 of the cores will probably be going strictly just to recording, which will put you on automatically down to 5 cores just for gaming. You're losing the performance, and that's from my own testing. Like my own testing. You can even watch some live streams. I did a live stream. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday morning. I did Marvel Rivals, just streaming in Diamond Ranked. And as streaming and recording at the same time, you can see my frames is right around 100 frames per second, which is way lower than my monitor. Monitor is 165 hertz. So I would like to see AMD take initiative, be like, I'm the bigger man, and make their medium tier, I can't say it's medium high tier, it's their medium tier GPUs, and make them affordable. Make it so that people actually buy the GPUs. Are they going to? They didn't do it last year, so they probably won't do it this year. Plus, do we want to talk about the 5090 just automatically deleting its drivers while using it? That's kind of odd too. Is that due to the fact that is that hardware level or what? Or is that just a PCIe 5.0 issue? I'm pretty sure it's probably like a hardware level, as in like the chip that's put onto the actual PCB that holds onto the BIOS, the VBIOS. Is that the issue? I'm speculating that it is. A lot of people are saying it's PCIe 5.0 that's the issue. I don't know yet. We'll have to see with more tests that come out. I'm hoping DeBauer goes over this. DeBauer's really good. He's really thorough on going over stuff like this. Even actually hardcore overclocking or Buildzoid. Maybe he'll take initiative, and I'm not sure if he already has a 5090 or not, if he was given one or not, and see if what kind of VBIOS chip is actually put in place on it. I have not searched up the actual components yet on 5090s or 5070 Ti's and seeing what they're actually using. Basically everything's the same as what it's been for a while, just an upgraded version of each piece basically. So like their monolithic capacitors, monolithic everything. There's a lot of monolithic components on the GPUs now, and have they updated the VBIOS chip to a better one? Is that the issue? Because it's on PCIe 5.0 now? Like, is that an issue using an older VBIOS chip and not an upgraded one because it is 5.0? I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. And I'm just going to get some notepad back out here. So we'll get notepad back out here for anyone that just started. So Z-Worms is a YouTuber where I got the 7900 GRE. It's a 16 gigabyte GDDR6. I didn't put that in there. GDDR6 card. And these are the frames that it's doing in 1440p 2K Ultra. Because I didn't put that in there either. And these are the frames that's doing for each of these here, and this is the performance for the 9070 XT, again 16 gigabyte VRAM, 1440p Ultra for these tests as well. And these are AMD's speculated performance over the 7900 GRE. These are what AMD came up with. It's a plus 38% over 7900 GRE. And that's what it is. So these are the extra frames that you're getting for each of these games at 1440p Ultra. Which is crazy. It's crazy. It's really good. It's like you can't really complain about the performance increase there. Especially at 1440p 2K there, Ultra settings. The only games I've actually tested out is BMW, Black Myth Wukong, CS2. Gonna be coming out one with COD here soon, and Apex Legends. Yeah, I haven't really done an Apex Legends where I did anything past 144 frames per second, because that's generally what Apex Legends runs at, is 144. So you have to do something in order to get more than 144 frames per second. So I'll have to do another test on that, see what my PC can do on average. But it's steady, 144, no frames dropped whatsoever, 144 steady on my PC. Also did it for a 12600K 3070 Ti. Done it with 13900K 1080, like GTX 1080. I'm not sure if I've done one with the GTX 1080 Ti yet. I might have just did a live stream on that. And I did a live stream with the 2080 Super as well. And yeah, we'll see. I really hope they don't make the price $749 for the XT and $649 for the 9070. I hope the price is a lot more. Well, not a lot more, a lot less, I should say. I'm hoping, but we'll have to see. I got video cards, don't I? Yeah. Now, I don't know if there's any other YouTubers that came out with anything about the 9070 XT that I haven't gone over. Not sure. And remember, the leaked prices of the 9070 XT before was like $899. That was like a month ago. I think I said it was supposed. I'm pretty sure I said I speculated the price to be around 700. So I wasn't too far off. And I was bang on for the money for the 5090. I said $2,000, and it came out to be $2,000. No, I said 2,000 to 2,400. So I guess my speculated price is pretty bang on for that, because just the FE model is basically where basic models $2,000 and most of the cards are $2,400 before scalpers. I don't see anything else. Notebook check. No, everything I've already gone over or speculated before. Gone over YouTubers too about 9070 XT and 5070 Ti. So there's nothing else new about that. Unfortunately, it just is what it is, right? Yeah, we will have to see February 28th, probably around 6 a.m. Eastern time. And then March 6th is when it comes out, so we'll see. Anyone's thoughts on the quad slot gigabyte card here? Quad slot. Is that probably going to have the LCD screen built onto it? That's a huge card. That's a monster. Probably should actually show. I don't know if anyone's seen this. 5070 Ti. There's a woman holding the 5070 Ti, and it's monster. No. And now I can't find the video. It's holding. It's like a little child, basically, in her hands. 5070 Ti, not even 5090, 5070 Ti. It's big. It's a big card. And now I can't even find the video. Well, that might be almost it for this stream, to be honest. Might come out again for another stream here later on. So I'm going to be checking over, see if there is anything else from anyone else. Usually around noon, people post some stuff, but is like there'd be any updated stuff compared to what I've already gone over? Probably not, but I'll have to see. So definitely will let you know if I do. I might make a video here about 9070 XT prices and that. So if you see a video about 9700 XT price, it's probably mine. Click on it. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video as well. It does help out the channel a lot. Almost monetized, so that's awesome. So yeah, I'm probably gonna call this a stream. Thank you everyone for joining into the stream. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Like the video, so that way hopefully this live stream goes out a bit more people can see it, so that way they can get a little more heads up on the price and or performance compared to a 5070 Ti, since no one else has the performance against a 5070 Ti yet. So if you're just joining on, I am ending the stream here now. You can go back through the video or the live stream and go over exactly what I've talked about. Have talked about quite a bit about performance of 9070 XT versus 7900 GRE and the actual differences between 9700 XT or 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti. Yeah, man, thank you. Hopefully you guys have a good day as well. So yeah, that's it for this one, everyone. As always, don't forget